Welcome to tonight's edition of What's Your Story? My name is Catherine Mwangi. We're here at the Pakistan House. We want to have a conversation with His Excellency Ibrar Husnain Khan. Now, we do this show to inspire, to empower, and to elevate. And I'm looking forward to you gleaning so much from his life story. I just know a bit of it. And I'm always looking forward to just having my life expanded from these conversations that we have. And I see you're here already, sir.
Good evening, Catherine.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Welcome to Pakistan
Thank
House.
you so much.
It's such a privilege to have you.
Oh, thank you. It's a beautiful, beautiful home. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Thank you very much.
So you're ready to share your story with us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
so let's go start. Okay. We are gratified that you've made time this week to tune in to yet another episode. Tonight, a conversation with His Excellency Ibrar Husnain Khan. He is Pakistan's High Commission to Kenya. A little under 1 year he's been in Kenya, and we are so happy that you welcomed us to your home, sir.
Thank you so much, and welcome to Pakistan House. I'm so very grateful that you provided me with this opportunity to not only talk to you, but to talk to the wider audience.
Yes.
And it's a matter of great privilege for me.
Thank you so much, as it is for us, because our relationship that's between Kenya and Pakistan spans over 60 years, I think.
Absolutely.
And it's not just a relationship in words, but there's been lots surrounding our relationship. We have a very strong foundation. So for us also as Kenyans, we are very just happy to have this, for the first time ever, the High Commission of Pakistan to Kenya. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And Pakistan and Kenya both enjoy excellent relations, and they're very substantive. These are not just political relations. There is a lot of substance to it. As you know, Pakistan buys more than 40%, up till 50% of Kenya's tea is bought by Pakistan.
Yeah.
And we sell a lot of rice and pharmaceuticals, and of late we have introduced Pakistani cosmetics, and we are soon going to introduce Pakistani marble and a lot of other stuff as well. So there is a lot of substance. This is it's just not about rhetoric.
No.
It's not just about words. There's a lot of substance, and as you know also that in the 19th century the British colonists brought a lot of people from South Asia, the current Pakistan, and they play an important role in this society. They are in all fields of activity, and they are doing a wonderful job. It's now a very prosperous community, mainly into businesses, and then in multinationals and NGOs and international organizations. So a lot of them are, contributing their bit to the prosperity and to the progress of this society, and they bring a lot of diversity and richness and aiding to this very, very rich culture.
I like the sound of that. So you've been in Kenya in 7-8 months, because you were appointed here September 2023.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what has your experience been like? Your unbiased impressions about Kenya and Kenyans?
No, I'll be very, very honest about it.
Yeah.
This is the 8th country that I'm serving in, and so far this has been my best experience. East Africa as a whole, as you know, I wholeheartedly believe that this is where I originated from. This is this is where the origins of humans lie.
Yeah.
And so this is our homeland. We consider it as our homeland because we originated from here.
Yeah.
And but then at the popular level, when you interact, we have two kinds of interactions. One is the official interaction.
Yes.
And anywhere in the world, the official interaction is always very, pleasant, very positive. You always, make your best effort to put your best foot forward.
Yes.
Yeah. But at the, the real sentiment is at the popular level. So when you interact with the with the normal, people on the street.
Yeah.
And only then can you form an opinion of the nation. What is the general disposition of the people?
Yeah.
Are they aloof? Are they reserved? Are they, forthcoming? Are they positive and healthy in their attitude towards you? Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things also that was very impressive to me when we first met is your clarity about this part of the world being the origin of mankind. And you had very, very strong views about it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's, if just look at the bigger picture. In the universe, we have trillions of galaxies, and in our own Milky Way galaxy, we have just one place to live in. We cannot migrate to Mars. We cannot migrate to Mercury or to any other star.
Yeah.
Not until now. But this is our only home, and in this home, we have origins, and we must admit it. We must acknowledge it. And there are tons of evidence for it, scientific evidence for it.
Yeah.
So, in the scientific community, there is this general consensus that it's Ethiopia and Kenya where we originated from. This is the home of the mankind. So I'm just restating a fact. It's not something concocted by anybody.
No.
Yeah, this is not something from thin air. It's absolutely clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's facts.
Yeah.
I like
It's a
that.
fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Earlier on, you said this is your 8th country to serve in, and you've served in the Middle East, in Europe, and of course your home country, Pakistan. So could you just give us an overview of your life in the Foreign Service?
To put it in one word, I would call all the diplomats gypsies, because we have to live at one place for a certain amount of time, and then we leave. But the best thing about diplomacy is it's a symbol of the human civilization, because a diplomat builds bridges. A diplomat would try to find consensus, and he would try to build peace and to contribute to a win-win situation where both the countries win. So diplomats do play a very good role, and traditionally they have played a very good role.
Yeah.
You must have seen, during your lifetime on a number of occasions, when the world would think that things are now getting out of control, and it's about time that hostilities are going to begin.
Yes.
And then the diplomats play their role, behind closed doors,
Yeah.
and behind the scene, and day in and day out, and then they find common ground, and then they resolve the issue peacefully. So that gives me a lot of pride
Yeah.
as a diplomat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it fulfills also, I feel, like your heart for service, like always wanting, so serving Pakistan in these different nations of the world that you've worked and served in, I feel like that's such a high calling, and it comes also with a weight of responsibility, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you therefore then ensure that your ducks are in a row and your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted, so that you're representing your country as you should? That's one part of the question. The second part would be, what happens when there's tension or there's conflict, and you spoke to solving things behind the curtains? So what happens then, and have you been caught in something like that?
When I started my career, on Afghanistan desk.
Ooh.
And 9/11 had just happened. So, my desk was the most happening desk. I was witness to so much, and I was also witness to a lot of diplomacy. And because at that time, the whole world was coming to Pakistan, we were engaged on many, many different fronts.
Yeah.
And so I was personally a witness to, a lot of such events, and it, again, it gave me immense pride when I witnessed such historic events, the details of which I cannot go into.
Of course.
But, you know, it was really gratifying to see, humans from many different ethnicities, races, and cultures, and languages, and everything.
Yeah.
And they coming together and thrashing out a very thorny issue, and then coming to a consensus, to an agreement. And when you look at the mechanics of it, it's all based on our language.
Oh,
Okay, because every single word has so much meaning.
right.
Because whenever we reach a consensus or an agreement, we jot it down through words, and then we make sure that we take the same meaning from the same word. So you're not interpreting that word differently.
Right.
So so we agree on every single word,
Right.
on to the extent of commas and full stops. Where should the comma be, and where should, because nobody wants to to take that risk of the interpretation of a few words differently by different parties. So then those words are honored and respected, and so that's all about diplomacy.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you talked of responsibility. It is it is great responsibility, because you negotiate and you deal with the host government,
Yeah.
on behalf of hundreds of millions of people. You represent, for example, your president is representing your country. If there is a prime minister, he is also a representative of this country. The
Yeah.
foreign minister is a representative of this state and the country and the nation. But the foreign ministers and the prime ministers and the presidents are not always engaged, because they have to attend to so many different things
Right.
domestically.
Yes.
So it is the ambassador who acts on behalf of the entire nation. So that with that, it brings a lot of responsibility. A lot of you cannot afford any hiccup, any misstep, any wrong word.
No.
You uttering from your mouth, from your tongue, and and then that one word can be misinterpreted in a variety of different ways.
Right.
So in that respect, there is a lot of responsibility. All your actions, when I go out, I inside my house, I'm a private citizen, but when I go out, I represent the country.
Right.
So anything I do would be representing my country. So I have to be cognizant of it all the time, all the time. So it brings a lot of responsibility.
Okay, so what you've shared is like a best case scenario. What happens when your humanity has to be overridden by the responsibility you carry? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
getting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting that. Yeah, it's a nightmare for a diplomat, because a diplomat is he is or she is trained to negotiate. War is, or violence is, diplomacy by other means. Yeah.
Okay.
And that is the last resort. This is 21st century. And if you look at the history of humans, only 100 years ago, just 100 years ago, we have been around for millions of years now on this planet. And war was inevitable all the time. When we look at ourselves in the 21st century, we are very fortunate. Traditionally, we have faced three enemies. One, famine and hunger. The second, pestilence and disease. And the third is violence. But if you look at it, we have almost conquered, famine and hunger.
Right.
Okay, pestilence and disease to a large extent. We are not dying miserably in our number, in great numbers. Okay, we have even conquered AIDS, and in the 14th century there was this one bacteria which killed 50% of the world's population. It was called Yersinia pestis, and so we have come a long way. And similar is the case with violence. After Second World War, we have not seen egregious violence on that scale. Before that, we have seen. Before that, there was World War I. Before that, there were, massively violent wars, everywhere in the world, in which millions and millions would die every year, and it was a given. So we have come a long way. Now, violence at that time was, an acceptable thing, in life. It was perfectly acceptable. It was inevitable. It was, and it was, accepted by the general populace that this is part of our life. Now, violence is hated. Now, violence is not looked at, favorably. But we should be really grateful for that. That we have reached a level where we collaborate, on the international level. Look at the UN. You have a headquarters here. UNEP. We recently had a United Nations Environment Assembly, in which thousands of people came together to thrash out the issue of climate change. And the environment, because it is an existential problem now. Now that gives me a lot of hope. That gives me a lot of heart. That we are now living in very unfortunate times, where we have now answers to a lot of our problems. And if we do not have the answers, then we come together to find those answers. So that gives me a lot of hope.
Right.
Yeah.
So speaking to even just what you mentioned now, the recently concluded UNEA. So you come together as diplomats, presidents, world leaders, and you agreed to do one or two, three things. Then I've always wondered, what are the next steps? So who's responsible for what?
The problem right now is, it's a common problem. We all are in it together. So it cannot happen that, Germany or United Kingdom or, Australia or Japan or any powerful country, prosperous country, can make itself immune to this problem. No. If Pakistan suffers, Germany will suffer. If Kenya suffers, South Africa will suffer. So it's not just within our boundaries. And, because I have been in this process, this is the second time I'm in this process, because back in the day, 2010-11, I was, dealing with this issue. And I've been to a lot of negotiation sessions. And there I saw for my own eyes the human ingenuity and, the inventiveness and the creativity of how to, a seemingly intractable problem. And somebody in the room would just come up, and just, present a solution. Why not we do it? And then, everybody just, oh my God, we didn't give it a thought. And so it's a collective effort. That guy may be from a very, very small island nation, from, for example, Solomon Islands or Fiji. And, the guy or the lady would just come up with a fantastic solution. And so it's a collaborative work. Since the problem is, common, so the solution has to be common. It's not that simple that two presidents just come together and they agree on something, in 30 minutes. No. There's a lot of very hard work, very diligent work that has already gone into it. So it is just, the finished product that you see on TV. But behind that, there's a lot of hard diplomatic work. And sometimes, there are a lot of disagreements. And, sometimes, the situation seems impossible.
Yeah.
And, unsalvageable. But, at the end of the day, the diplomats, they just find, common ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
You find common ground.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to take a break. But before we do, I need you to touch on, you said to me when we met, Pakistanis take how many cups of tea a day?
Pakistanis? Pakistanis, it depends. It depends, for example, I have in my family people that, whose day starts with a cup of tea
Okay.
and whose day ends with a cup of tea. Yeah. And you might have, heard from some people that, when I take tea, I cannot go to sleep and, things like that. But, in Pakistan, I don't see such people
Yeah.
a lot. For example, early in the morning, they would have a tea, a cup of tea. Then, well, for example, myself, I go to my office and, 9 o'clock I'm in office and then, 11 o'clock I'm going to have a cup of tea.
Okay.
I don't take lunch, so, at 1 o'clock I'll again have a cup of tea. Then, at 3 o'clock again I'll have a cup of tea. In Pakistan, evening tea is a must.
Right.
Yeah, it's part of the routine.
Right.
So, for example, most of the time it is extremely hot. So you take a nap, during the day, and then when you get up, the first thing you do is take a cup of tea, and then you take your dinner, and after dinner you must have a cup of tea. Yeah, so it's everybody has at least 10 to 12 cups of tea every day.
A day?
Every day, yeah, every
10
day.
to 12?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
most of that tea comes from Kenya?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Almost half of it comes from Kenya.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And Kenya, you talk to anybody in Pakistan, to a kid, to a lady who has not even, seen the face of a school, and you talk of tea, and the first gut reaction is Kenya. Yeah. So it's for us, it's kind of a lifeline.
It's a lifeline.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
we'll take a break. I'll be having my second cup of tea, Pakistani made Kenya tea leaves. Is that a proper way to put it? It's my second cup because the High Commissioner already hosted us to a sumptuous breakfast today. So we'll be back after the break and we get to go up close and personal on why the Foreign Service was attractive to him and a career choice that he felt this is my life path. So don't go too far. Watch the story. We'll be back. How is that even possible? Like you milk buffaloes?
The cow's milk or the goat's milk is not considered very appropriate for for making your tea. So it has to be a buffalo's milk.
Why should we have Pakistan in our bucket list?
We have some of the most beautiful places on earth. If you go to the north of Pakistan, it's breathtakingly beautiful.
Okay.
The cuisine is so rich. I don't think any nation in the world has such a diverse cuisine as we have.
Welcome back from the break. This is What's Your Story with me, Catherine Mwangi, here at the residence of Pakistan's High Commissioner to Kenya, His Excellency Ibrar Hussain Khan. We are having, or rather I'm having, he also has his cup there. We said during the break we're going to have a cup of tea, so we actually actualized it. So this is Pakistani brewed Kenya tea, okay? So he's going to explain to us maybe sometime later how this happens, because also the first time I had tea at your office, and we're like, hi, this tea. And during the break, I discovered two things. Well, we had a long conversation. But he said to us that in Pakistan, they take buffalo milk, buffaloes, okay? How is that even possible? Like you milk buffaloes?
Yeah, it's, when I traveled around the world, when I was in Pakistan, the first 25 years of my life, and I had never traveled abroad, so I took it for granted that, buffaloes are everywhere in the world.
No, they're not.
Then when I traveled abroad,
Yeah.
I found it out for the first time in my life that buffaloes are only specific to South Asia. And yeah, but in Pakistan and in the larger South Asian region, most of the milk that is consumed is from buffaloes. And secondly, the cow's milk or the goat's milk is not considered very appropriate for for making your tea. So it has to be a buffalo's milk. And yeah, and how do you make it? When you need to have just a little amount of water
Okay.
and a lot of Kenyan tea leaves. Then you boil it.
Okay.
Okay, after it is boiled completely, then you add milk to it.
Okay.
Then you again put the lid on it, and then you again boil it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you add sugar according to your taste, or if you don't want to add sugar, but you have to boil it twice.
Yeah.
Once the tea leaves are boiled in a little amount of water, and then with milk.
Yeah.
So that's how we make Pakistani, and it's called in Pakistan. It's called kadak. Kadak tea.
Karak, I've seen those
Yeah.
tea sachets in supermarkets.
Yes.
That name is from Pakistan.
Yeah, that name is
Karak tea.
kadak tea.
Ah.
Kadak tea means that it's just a perfect brew of milk and tea leaves and water. And and in Pakistan we are very particular about it. An overwhelming majority of people would not just add tea leaves to just hot water
No.
and some milk. No, we consider it very, very fake. Yeah, it's not proper tea.
So cow milk in Pakistan is a no. It's not up to your standards.
For most of the people.
Okay.
Well, yeah, most of the people. Although cow's milk is used widely, but for other purposes as well. But most of the people would prefer their tea to be made in buffalo's milk. Yeah. Yeah.
And you're so particular that you said to me during the break that you had to teach your wife how to make tea the way you like it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I go anywhere and I have to teach my assistant or anybody who helps me in my office, and who is kind enough to prepare for me tea.
Yeah.
Then I teach them everywhere. I would not take just ordinary tea.
No.
Just like no.
Yeah.
It's in our culture. It is very funny, but in our culture we call it's a disrespect of tea.
Oh.
Yeah. So you have to respect the tea, yeah, and consume it the way it should.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is to all planning to invite the High Commissioner to your events. Please make sure the tea is up to-
That's why I don't take tea everywhere. No.
Wow.
No. Yeah. It has to be to my liking. Yeah.
Even me from today, I'm copying His Excellency. If you're not making tea like this, we're not gelling. No. So speaking of tea, then, Kenya exports a large amount of tea to Pakistan. I think that's the right way of putting it.
Yeah.
So, for example, in 2023, and I know this numbers increase every year.
Yeah.
Because ordinarily we would imagine that our exports mostly go to the West, but when I was reading about our relationship, I saw that when it comes to Pakistan and Kenya, what Pakistan accepts or receives from Kenya is so much, and what we receive from Pakistan is quite a lot. So let's start with what we take there in terms of numbers. How big is that?
It's like more than $800 million of bilateral trade. $800 million, and most of it is tea. It's like more than close to $550 million worth of tea we import, and and we are. Let me tell you, we are now working towards it that we import more from Kenya.
What?
Because we need more, and we also import from other countries because Kenya alone cannot satisfy the needs of Pakistan's tea
Demand,
needs.
yeah.
So we are trying to increase that import, and because Kenya's tea is a brand in Pakistan. As long as it is from Kenya, then it is, it is the best tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 500, between 5 and 550 million dollars worth of tea is imported by Pakistan. And similarly, Pakistan exports rice and pharmaceuticals predominantly. And now we are trying to diversify this portfolio, and because we believe, and I personally believe that I should not be imposing anything that is not needed here. I should be trying to bring things that are needed in this country.
Right.
If there is a consumption, for example, if there is something that is needed in Kenya, and if that thing is being produced by Pakistan,
Right.
and if Kenya is importing it from elsewhere, so I should also be competing. Okay, it would be unfair on my part if I ask Kenya to stop this import from this country and start importing it from Pakistan.
Yeah.
I would just bring my product, and I would just, ask the Kenyans to compare,
yes.
compare the prices,
Yes.
compare the
Quality.
and so that's why things are moving in a very positive direction.
Right.
We had recently some great breakthroughs in terms of certain products.
Why should we have Pakistan in our bucket list? What would be coming there to see, to enjoy?
There are 2-3 things about Pakistan.
Okay.
The first and foremost is when you go there, you will find out that Pakistanis are the most hospitable people on earth.
Okay.
Okay. For example, it's a given. You come to my place, it's just a given. If it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm not going to ask you whether you are going to have your lunch or not. It's a given. I'll present you with, I'll serve you with lunch, and it's up to you whether you want to eat it or not. And it has to be a lavish one because you are a guest.
Oh, okay.
So a guest is a very honored person in our household. Anybody can just barge in.
Okay.
It's not that you will call me first on phone to inform me that you were going to visit me. It's considered very inappropriate and very rude if you ask somebody to first inform him before you visit him. It is the ultimate form of rudeness in that country. What? Yes. For example, if you want to visit me, you just have to come, whether I'm at home or not. You will have to find it out yourself, whether I'm home or not. You will not call me on phone.
And I just come.
Yeah, you just come. You just come, you just knock at the door.
Yeah.
This is my culture. Then number 2, geographically, we're extremely diverse.
Okay.
So at the same time, at any given moment, you will find minus 50 degrees centigrade and plus 50 degrees centigrade in the same country. Okay, minus 50 and plus 50. Then you will see, the tallest, the highest peaks in the world. Out of 10, we have 5. The second highest, a lot of, especially people from the West, they come to scale those peaks.
Yeah.
And then we have deserts, we have plains, we have, valleys, some of the most beautiful places on earth. If you go to the north of Pakistan, it's breathtakingly beautiful. I come from the north of Pakistan. I come from a valley, it's called Swat, and SWAT, Swat, and you just visit that place, and it will take your breath away. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So we have all sorts of history. It is one of the most diverse nations on earth. There are hundreds and hundreds of different languages that are spoken in that country. You will see, you will see people who you would think, they're Africans, completely black, okay, and then you will see people completely white. So you will see every skin color, every height, you know, a lot of languages. The cuisine is so rich. I think that, you know, like personally, I like the Chinese cuisine. I like the Turkish cuisine, the Lebanese, the Italian. Okay, personally. But when I look at all the cuisines, you know, dispassionately and, you know, very objectively, I don't think any country in the world, any nation in the world has such a diverse cuisine as we have.
Okay.
Yeah, such a diverse cuisine.
Yeah.
And, you know, you will find there, for example, if I were to ask you to count me the Kenyan, you know, dishes and foods, you will go up to 30, 50, and I can keep counting mine, and we will come to the end of our lives. Yeah, thousands and thousands,
Yeah.
delicacies, and, you know, very tasty food, because there is a reason for that. The reason is, you know, in our part of the world, most of the herbs and the spices, you know, very exotic spices and very exotic herbs are found there. And during the last 5,000 years, we have, you know, we have somehow discovered their, you know, tastes and, you know, their herbal qualities, their medicinal qualities. You know, so we use a lot of herbs and spices.
Okay.
And because of those spices, you know, there's a lot of, you know, diversity in the cuisine. So that's how, you know, so because of our cuisine, because of our diversity, because of our hospitality,
Yeah.
because of our history,
Yes.
one, you know, you should visit Pakistan.
Yeah.
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 I can only go there maybe just for the food to start with, just so you've described it. The cuisine,
Absolutely, yes,
like you
absolutely.
name your dishes until kingdom come. If
Yes. And then and in any case, you know,
Yeah.
you people will be invited very soon to, you know, to sample some of our cuisines. So, you know, my chef was not here, so he has recently joined us.
Yeah.
So now, you know, very confident that, you know,
Thank you,
yeah,
sir.
you will sample, yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you.
Most
Thank you.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So coming back home here in Kenya, as Pakistan's representative in this country, what do you hope to achieve during your tenure? You know, in terms of even growing the relationship we've had there before. Obviously, 60 years is no small feat, and now you're here, and all lights on you. So, what are some of the things you want to achieve, or have even started working on?
Yeah, two things. You know, our relations are excellent. I tell people, I tell my friends that, you know, I don't see many challenges in this country, because from our perspective, everything is so great and so good that I don't have to really make an effort to, you know, to salvage things, because there is nothing to salvage. It is, you know, it is, everything is in perfect shape. My two things. One is people to people contacts. You know, I would love to, you know, to take Kenyan students to Pakistani higher seats of learning, because I think that in that area we have a lot to offer to you. So one is that, and the second is to increase the trade more. Yeah, and I would love to, you know, to have Pakistan buying all its tea from Kenya. Now it is buying 50%. So more trade means more prosperity, more people, you know, getting involved in the process. So yeah, that ultimately, you know, because then, for example, Kenya develops a huge stake in Pakistan. Okay, because you know, it is selling Pakistan its major produce. So and then, you know, it has a stake in the stability and the peace and the prosperity and, you know, the political stability, social stability, economic stability
Yeah.
of that country. So Kenya then develops a huge stake. Kenya becomes a party to it.
Yeah.
that I don't want, violence in this country, because, my economic,
Yes.
survival is dependent on it.
Yes.
Or for example, my, 200 of my people have, gone there and invested and, established factories and mills and everything. So I want them to be,
Yeah.
be secure, and I want their lives to be secure, and I want, so that's how we develop stakes in each
Yes.
other, in when,
Yes.
when we have trade and investment relationships, and that is for the mutual benefit of both the countries.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's symbiotic. It's
Yeah,
not
symbiotic,
parasitic,
yes.
it's symbiotic.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we say goodbye, I want you to look into the camera and speak to, I like that you, the first part you talked about providing scholarships to our students, and just ensuring that, that's one of your core focus now. So to the young people, because there's lots of them who watch this show, some of them are studying international relations, but also some of them would just, just to encourage them to hold on and to just not give up.
Yes, absolutely. I would say it from my personal experience. My grandfather did not see the face of a school. My father could only go up to 10th grade. Okay, and I was one of the luckiest ones in that country who made it this far. Now, let me very categorically, tell you people that, all the young, population of this country, who are the future of this country, there are no shortcuts to life. Just bear this in mind, please. There are no shortcuts. And there is no alternative to two things. One is hard work and one is consistency. But consistency, in my view, is more important than hard work. If you have to choose between the two, then consistency is one thing that will surely, that will 100% take you to your destination where you want to go. So, hard work and consistency, and no shortcuts.
Well, Your Excellency, that's all the time we had for today.
Thank you so much.
But I'm also thinking that now that your chef is here, this is me just throwing you into the deep end. We should plan for, first of all, a proper like Pakistani, the whole Pakistani cuisine works.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, because there's so much could have talked about. I mean, when we first met, we were very impressed by your wide and, the width and the depth of your history, the history that you know, some of the things you're hearing for the first time, Millicent and I. And then also just general life philosophy on different things, family, money, love, business, etc. So I think that would be a great conversation to have maybe for the next time.
Absolutely.
Having Pakistani
Looking forward
biryani.
to it. Yes, biryani, kadahis, you name it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
With great pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, please plan it, and, please do let me know.
Okay.
And we will organize it.
Yeah.
The way you want it. And, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you can have greater conversations still, and maybe a few young people that you can now pour into directly. Who knows? Yeah, I think that would be great.
Yeah. Absolutely. With great pleasure.
Thank you.
With privilege. I would feel very privileged.
Thank you.
Yeah, if we can do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for, your time today. We have been incredibly enlightened, especially the buffaloes. And I won't forget that. Buffalo milk in Pakistan, okay? And though you're particular about tea. I mean, it's just been a very refreshing conversation.
Thank
the kind
you.
I like. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you so much. And, I was telling Simran, when I came here, that, look, the one community that I love the most and love to interact with the most is the journalistic community.
Yeah.
Whether they are serious political commentators or they are in the electronic media, they are in the entertainment industry. Because, the other day I think we talked about it. The highest form of human civilization is art. But these artists, they take risks They just give up on so much.
Yeah.
And they pursue their passion.
Thank you. On behalf of the profession, the artists, the creatives in this room and watching, thank you so much. Thank you for that high commendation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for your time and for your story.
Such a pleasure. It was such a pleasure.
Yeah.
Such a pleasure. And I look forward to more such interactions with you people.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ooh, my breath is literally taken away, but we say goodbye. Thank you for watching. The repeat of this program is Sunday 2 p.m. And right after this, we upload it on our KTN Home YouTube channel. I am gratified that you watched tonight. Let me know on social media what you've gleaned from this story, okay? It's always a pleasure and such a divine privilege when we receive your feedback and you're able to just respond to you either on the spot or, you know, we don't take more than 48 hours before we get back to you. So just let us know what this story meant for you. And until next week, stay well, stay safe, and God bless.